Hi, I'm Mary.
And I'm Katie, and this is The Housewife Did It.
Pop culture edition.
And another sultry edition. It's been a while.
And if I drop my octave too low, my voice will simply disappear edition.
Mhm.
Um, if you are the person who bought a sticker from our Redbubble this week, hi. Oh, it was you. No! It didn't tell me who it was.
What?
I just got my nails done. And so green.
What?
And they're wet. If you're here and you, like my dogs, love this podcast so much you want to shout it from the rooftops every 5 seconds,
Please do.
please, do shout it to everyone you've ever met in your life. Send them a link, have them like, subscribe. What else do you do? Follow, give it a rating. Um, if you need to knock it down to 4 stars this week because I sound like shit, I understand. But then you could also say, but every other week, it's 5
Five.
stars. Um, yeah, also, sorry we haven't been doing next time on. Get it together.
Not that anyone's holding their breath for that.
No. But
Well,
we do
now
have,
it's like a tease because it's like next time a whole week from now.
yeah. We do have 2 new YouTube subscribers.
Nice. Welcome.
Yeah, hi. Sorry I'm late on the videos. It's the same reason that my voice sounds like this, and it's because of children. All right. You ready?
Yes.
Okay. Claim to Fame. This is like kind of like the most interesting season I think of Claim to Fame so far. The celebrity relatives are like starting to come together more, but like some are still like I have no idea. Um so we had already figured out that Diedrich was Michael Jackson's nephew. I think I told that to you that he had said like that they call him Mr. Jackson at the hospital that
Yeah.
he works at. Um, and I also said that I highly suspected Naomi was related to Molly Ringwald due to her clue, but that was confirmed because she was eliminated from the house. Um, Adam guessed that she was related to Molly Ringwald, and he was right. So she went home. Um, they had guessed at one point, I think I did this last week too. Dietrich, they had guessed that he was related to Little Richard, and that was incorrect. And so then finally people were like, no, it's like obviously Michael Jackson. But for some reason, Adam thinks it's actually, I'm going to come back to that. Just cut all that. Blah, 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 blah. Sorry, my mind is a cloud. I am a wispy cloud. All right. I also pieced together some clues. And so HUD's clues were like cherry bomb and something else. Oh, watermelon. And so I pieced together that HUD is the son of John Cougar Mellencamp, which also makes him the brother of Teddy Mellencamp, which in my opinion is more interesting.
Yeah, right? So then if there's some Bravo fans in the house, are
Yeah,
they gonna
right, exactly. I will say Diedrich went home this week and it was like Michael Jackson, obviously that they had related him to, but he said something about like all of my family is superstars. Like you can't go wrong matching me up with anyone. Um, and then Mackenzie's clue was like 6'6" country singer. Um, and it's Trace Adkins. So that's cool. I don't think anyone's gonna guess that though.
Yeah, fair.
They're like So she asked the guy who got her clue. She was like, "Do you know who it is?" And he was like, "No," but like I know, but I don't know. So the ones I'm still trying to like for sure figure out are Danny, Shane, and Adam. This week we got Danny's clue, which was like a man standing on top of a flame. I don't know what that means, but then it had Vini Vidi Vici, and then Music Star, who fell for J Lo. And I was like, okay, like all the men J Lo's ever dated and been married to.
Mm-hmm.
But then Vini Vidi Vici is a quote from Julius Caesar, who is friends with Mark Antony. And J Lo was married to Mark Anthony.
Mm-hmm.
So they think that that's who Danny's related to. Then Diedrich was the guesser this week, and he guessed that Adam was related to Owen Wilson, which was wrong. And Diedrich went home, which brings me to how odd Adam's gameplay is. So, first of all, Adam, for some reason, I'm coming back now. Adam, for some reason, is convinced, or was convinced, that Diedrich's relative was Randy Jackson.
Mm.
He was like, there are plenty of Jacksons in the world, doesn't necessarily make it Michael Jackson. And he's like, and yes, there are clues that lead us to Michael Jackson, but there are also clues that lead us to Randy Jackson. So he's kind of like doing it backwards, I would say. And he's like picking someone for each person in the house and then trying to make the clues match that guess. So he's like looking at the clue wall and he's like, there's a microphone, there's an American flag, American Idol, like blah blah blah. And he was like, and he's an actor. They were like, he's a music producer, and he's like, no, he's more well known for being an actor. And they were like, no. And so they told him like, no, we think it's Michael Jackson. Like, here's why. Because his clue was like scarecrow that moonwalks. That was his clue. And he was like, no, there's like literally no way it's Michael Jackson. Like, I would never guess that. There's absolutely no way they could get Michael Jackson's relative in this house. Like, and they were like, okay, you'll see when we guess him. And it's Michael Jackson, how wrong you are. And he did. But also, so he's done that with everyone, though. He's like picked who he thinks they're related to, and he's trying to make clues match for them. So for some reason, he's decided that Shane is related to Robin Williams. And he's like done this based on like the clue wall again. But then this week, they had a challenge where they were blindfolded and they had to guess what things were based on like their smell, taste, feeling, and sounds. And the first one, I don't remember what it was they were smelling, but they were these little like pellet ball things. And he was like, oh, it's napalm. And his partner was HUD, and he was like, I don't think they're making us smell napalm. And he was like, yes, because of that one movie with Robin Williams, we must be smelling napalm. And then one of the sounds, it was like tap dancing or like something like hitting the ground. And he was like, oh my gosh, I know this sound. And he's like, okay, what is it? He's like, it's Jumanji. And he's like, HUD was like, Jumanji is not a sound. And he's like, no. And he like locked that guess in for them. He was like, no, we're guessing Jumanji. Um, and he was like, because obviously like Robin Williams. And so like it's just kind of like getting annoying to watch because like he's wrong for one, but two, he's being like so weird about it.
Mm-hmm.
But so we'll see. I don't think Shane is related to Robin Williams,
Yeah.
but whatever. Um,
Mark Anthony was in a movie called Man on Fire.
aha. I've been trying to like make it be one of those ones like they have like this like owl with a like owl says symbol and they're like which like stands for like who, and I've been trying to make the man on fire be like a code word or something. But very interesting because Danny does not seem Hispanic. Um, but that's cool. Moving on from claim to fame, that was long-winded explanation of it. Last couple weeks, but like, I just think it's interesting, and also Adam's getting on my nerves, and also they were supposed to guess. Um, oh, sorry, I'm back at claim to fame again. So Adam got to pick the wine bottle clue, and he was supposed to pick his own clue. But because HUD had to pick with him, they had to read it together because they were like a team. And Adam said he wanted to pick his own clue, and so they were gonna have HUD read it with him and then like tell them so that they could guess Adam and get him out because he's annoying everyone. Um, and they got in there instead and picked Danny's clue, and like everyone was kind of annoyed with HUD for like letting that happen, and then they got back from the like guess off, and Adam went up to Shane and he was like, "Hey, I've got something like on my back that's like driving me nuts. Could you like look at it?" And then he's like, "Is it a target?" They're like, now moving on. So Jax Taylor is allegedly seeking inpatient treatment for his mental health, which is like great. We've seen him do that before, but it's like during the filming of season 2 of The Valley, which I think like has people wondering kind of like what's happening right now on The Valley.
Well, I mean, he's not like ever gone to inpatient treatment that we've been
Yeah.
aware of. But actually, like the fact that they're filming maybe makes it less valid almost because like we have seen Jax talk about how he needs mental health treatment but only ever on camera. Like he makes it a storyline. So then it's
Yeah.
like,
True.
oh, like is it going to be a storyline? But I
Yeah.
mean, I guess it would be hard for it to be a storyline when you're gone
Yeah.
in an inpatient facility. So
Meanwhile, Brittany has been seen hanging out with Tanner from charity season of The Bachelorette. I didn't realize he was on so recently. I thought for some reason I thought he was quite a few seasons back, but good for him.
yeah. And like someone tell me why Rachel Leviss felt the need to like post about Jax. And like she was kind, like she was like good for him. I hope he receives support in a way that I never did. But it's like
Girl, it's
you
not about you.
also like you were never friends with Jax. You are not friends with any of them now, and like separate yourself, girl. Like people are like begging for her to just not keep trying to be a part of this world, but it's also like I think she believes that she's some sort of like universal spokesperson on mental health, and it's like I like of course mental health played a part and continues to play a part in her life before, during, and after her life fell apart. However, like the the poster child for mental health issues is not just somebody who like made a bad decision. Like, like there are like things that happen in people's lives that like they have to take like serious medications for, and they have to go to like inpatient treatment without like it being a choice on their end. And so like this idea that like she knows better than anyone else because she had low self-esteem once and had an affair.
Yeah, dumb. Um, also in this realm, in this cinematic universe, Katie Maloney was reportedly spotted out with Connor Newsom from Love Island. I don't know um who that is. Do we like him? Is this good news?
Not really. he gave everyone like basically the like good guy ick the whole time. He was I don't know if you've seen this clip of Leah where she's like, I'm sorry, he's so nice, but I need
Oh,
someone to
yes.
send me to the psych ward, and it's not giving that. Like, she was talking about Connor because he is so like nice. However, like since leaving the show, he has like, I haven't heard anything from him, but I've heard people's responses, and like people are not happy with like things he's been saying. And also they say that he's dumb. So it feels kind of like a bad like Tom Schwartz choice for her. That he's like this
She
like
got a type.
good guy, but like underneath he's like misogynistic and like you know.
Mhm.
Before we leave Vanderpump, it has been announced that Hulu is doing Stassi Says, a docu-comedy series with Stassi Schroeder, and it will be with her former producers from Vanderpump Rules. She also was in a clip about season 2 of Vanderpump Villa with Lisa. I am finding it hard to believe that she is like joining Vanderpump Villa. Like, I think that she may be like a guest, or maybe it's a way to promote that like they're both going to be on Hulu. Like, hey everyone, go to Hulu now. But I didn't think we'd see her back on reality TV. She's talked a lot about how she doesn't want to come back, but she's talked a lot about how she doesn't want to come back to VPR because that would be, or the Valley, because that would be inorganic for her because she's like not friends with those people. So like I'm not exactly sure what this is gonna be. Docu comedy. I don't really know what that means.
Never heard that before.
Right. But at least she's not gonna have to pretend to be friends with people that she doesn't hang out with. So
Um, Carl
mm-hmm.
Radke, has gone through with his non-alcoholic bar despite being shot down at every turn by Lindsay.
At one turn.
Every time I try to do something. Um, so he's launching something called Soft Bar and Cafe, as it seems like starting as like a pop-up in New York, and he explained like that it's because like non-alcoholic cocktails are called like soft cocktails or whatever.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
then
people were trying to say that he was like edding Lindsay and like naming it that because he told her he needed softness, and then they broke up, and that he named it Soft Bar like to come for her. But I think that like no, that is what you call them. Like
yeah,
hard. It's a hard seltzer, or it's a, but like
right,
it's another way to say like virgin
yeah.
soft drink.
Um, he says that it will open permanently in Brooklyn eventually. And it will be Brooklyn's first non-alcoholic bar and a cafe. And the pictures he posted of his like launch event seemed like they were taken at the Summer House.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, and also it's August, so I think
Mm-hmm.
it's safe to say we will see that next season. I'm excited. We got like week week 1, Lindsay says I'm pregnant. Week
Mm-hmm.
2, Carl says I'm
Here's my bar.
opening my bar.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was the summer house, and it looked like there was like a truck. Like it was
hmm
just, so I don't know if that's how they're gonna do it for
As a
like the
pop
pop
up,
up.
yeah,
Yeah, it's just kind of like mobile style, food truck style.
yeah. Um, Originally we had some like fun, playful Taylor Swift news,
Uh huh.
and then it changed. There was a show, I don't know where they were, but Taylor was like getting ready to play Lover, and she like took like her left ring finger and like pretended, like kind of mimed like taking a ring off and putting it back on, and she was talking about like being really excited about something.
Yeah.
Um,
I couldn't
and
decide if people were saying she was trying to like signal something, or people were saying like, oh look, she just naturally is like
Right.
touching her finger because there must normally be a ring there.
Because I be doing this all day long. So again, people are like engaged.
Which, like, just to me, like, what difference does it make?
Yeah.
Whatever. Then to the not so fun news. Her shows in Vienna, which were another set of shows that people thought could be bringing Rep TV. In fact, they thought that today on 8/9 was an option for that. So, those shows were canceled after authorities, I don't know what they're called there, after authorities found and arrested 2 men who were found to be planning some sort of terror attack. It has since come out that those people were actually hired as security for the show, and they had pipe bombs prepared, planned to drive a vehicle into a crowd and then attack them with knives and machetes. They said it was a suicide plan and that they would have just killed as many people as they could have. They were linked to ISIS. They are young, like 17 and 19. That could be wrong, but they're teenagers. And at first they had said like, "Ooh, plan foiled. Like we're gonna go on with the shows," and then they were like, "Never mind."
This
And I
feels
think,
weird.
yeah, and I think that I don't know how this goes, but like if it was just like, oh, we heard this lone wolf was going to do something, but when you hear that it's like an ISIS backed people, like they could have backup, like they could have other options. So Vienna has given people with tickets free access to museums, free meals, free movie tickets. They're like gathering in the streets and singing songs from the concerts, and police are like guarding them, and they're trading friendship bracelets, and they're doing all the things. But and people keep, you know how people are always going to do like, safety is most important, and safety is absolutely most important, but like to act like that is not absolutely devastating for people who either live in Vienna and aren't going to have another opportunity, or people who already booked and traveled to Vienna for this and paid. And yes, they're going to get refunded for the tickets, but are they going to get refunded for hotel rooms? No. Like time off work?
Yeah.
No.
It's also just a
And
bummer.
it sucks. Yeah.
Like it's okay to grieve things.
Yeah.
Sometimes. I had seen something about like, I don't think it was a concert, but it was like a Taylor Swift related something where people did get stabbed. That was a separate thing.
Yes. A couple weeks ago, I thought we covered it last week, but maybe not. So, or last time, but a few weeks ago at a Taylor Swift themed dance class in the UK, 3 young girls were killed and 10 injured when a 17-year-old came in and stabbed them. So yeah.
Not that there's like an appropriate venue for,
but that's a weird one.
Attacking people, but it's like weird to target like concerts. I feel like
I get concerts
and like just
because
fun
people target places that have a lot of people,
like large crowds. Yeah,
sure, I get that. And like, where are you gonna get larger crowds than a Taylor Swift concert? And you have so many people outside that like you don't have to get in to cause damage. But a dance class is so weird. Like it couldn't have been that many people. How did you infiltrate that? And
then like it feels also like the reason you're doing it is because it's like a Taylor Swift themed dance class. Like you're like,
yeah,
I'm gonna kill those Taylor Swift fans.
Yeah, and people have come out. I mean, this may be taking it too far. Also, there are theories that Beyonce and Taylor Swift are gonna do an event for Vice President Harris and Governor Walz for their campaign. But someone posted and they said, like, y'all want to know why she hasn't said anything about Palestine, why she hasn't said anything about the election, why she hasn't said all this list of things. And they're like, this is why. And like, she has talked about her opinions before, so I don't necessarily know that that's why, but I have thought about like, if this is already happening, like if she starts to be like very, very vocal, although when she voted for Biden Harris, I think we can probably assume she's going to vote for Harris Waltz, but like it could just make things worse. And then like her fans are at risk, and like that sucks for her to have to think about, but she does. Since then, London has posted or announced that they do not plan to cancel the Wembley shows, and that they will like up security. And I mean, I think that that's fair too. Like, there's not a major reason to like cancel every show moving forward.
Yeah.
But I do think, like I was saying to Billy, like where you normally have like metal detectors and whatever, I think like unfortunately now all of those venues are going to need to do a bomb squad sweep every weekend, every night, like, and we'll see on the security side of things.
Yeah, I think especially knowing that that was on the security side of things, because like in America, home of the red, white, and blue, we had Olympics Day at school today, so this is what I wore. We do like clear bag policies for concerts so that concert goers cannot bring those things.
Right.
But they don't really like apply like to the security guards because they're security. They're the ones checking the clear bags. And so I
we
think
have
that, like,
seen those security is like 20-something-year-old dudes. Like I hope that they are like doing
in
a
some
lot
way
of screening.
them,
Yeah.
But also like
But if you're there early, you can lay pipe bombs. Yeah. You know, like there's just so much more access.
And also, like, a lot of the non-US concerts do not have clear bag policies, from what I've seen. And so I think, like, for us in, like, the United States, we're like, okay, yeah, like, I just kind of assume we were already doing it that way. But, like, I think that's going to be, like, different for people who are not in, yeah, that poem, America is a Gun?
No.
Oh, okay. It's like when people like think of like symbols of each country. America is a gun. People who are not in America, where we're the land of the guns and the home of the mass shootings. It's like different, but also like to then like think about that has to be translated into like every single person who walks into that arena, like has to be double checked whether they're there to be security or to watch the show or be on her team or whatever. But we probably should have put that at the end because now it feels weird to talk about Love Island.
We say that every time we say something serious, but
yeah. When will we learn?
But now to lighten your evening,
yeah, this also this would have made sense when we were talking about Katie Maloney too. Dumois posted that two unexpected, which in my opinion, I don't watch Love Island, but in my opinion, I don't unexpect anybody of hooking up.
Unexpect anybody of hooking up.
Two unexpected Love Island USA cast members were hooking up off camera the entire duration of the show's filming, which, like, also in my opinion, again, don't watch the show, but like, why were you doing it the whole time? Well, and you weren't a couple. Isn't that like the whole point?
Yeah. Well, okay. I wonder if it was Liv and Rob. And the only reason I say that is because of all the context clues, which is like they had to have been there for a long time because they had to have been doing it for like most of the show. But also Liv and Rob had this very, like, he thought she was super hot. They thought each other were super hot, but they were just friends. And I think that like they wouldn't have coupled up. I think that they could have been fucking, but like knew like they didn't really want to be together. And I thought it was weird because he was the only one the whole time that was like, it's been a long time since I've ejaculated. And like no one else talked about it when I knew none of them were having sex. So it's like, but there is one bathroom apparently that has no cameras. So I don't know if dudes like jacked off in there or that's where somebody was fucking. But I'm like, I don't know who else. Maybe we'll find out at the reunion. But like, I don't know. But maybe that's silly of me because maybe that's expected. But
I
I
just
don't
feel
know.
like,
I feel
especially
like
with
if it was
Rob,
any of the people who left coupled up, then like there would be drama.
yeah, I just feel like Rob clearly, it seems, has no qualms with
Mm-hmm.
moving around to whoever he wants. So,
Right.
like, it feels silly that he'd be like fucking someone and wouldn't be like,
Sure.
I could just be coupled with them. But whatever.
Yeah.
Um, so I wanted to put this last, I think this is the last thing. Yeah. I wanted to put this last tidbit in there because you and I were talking about it in our Instagram DMs. And then I like learned more about it and I was like, no, this is like fucking weird. So we're gonna get sued if you don't stop.
By who? What song am I humming? You don't even
Um,
know.
Halsey came out with her own cover of Britney Spears' Lucky, which seems to feature moments in Britney's life such as shaving her head, battling mental health struggles, taking drugs. And since the song and the music video were released, it has sparked some like controversy slash confusion slash concern.
So I'll
I
interrupt.
personally,
What?
I'm a little worried about Britney after this, but when am I not, you know?
Yeah. So I will interrupt and say that it's not a cover. It's an entirely new song with basically like dirty bits of Lucky. So, and it featured,
Rendition. Rendition is what I should have said.
well, yes, but it also doesn't feature moments in Britney's life. It features moments in Halsey's life,
Yes, I was
which
getting to that.
are ironically very parallel
Yes.
in that way.
So after the music video for the song came out, a tweet, do we still call them tweets when they're on X?
Elon Musk would rather we didn't, so I'd say sure.
Okay. A tweet was sent out from Britney Spears' X account, which read, quote, "For obvious reasons,
Are they?
I'm very upset about the Halsey video. I feel harassed, violated, and bullied. I didn't know an artist like her and someone I looked up to and admired would illustrate me in such an ignorant way by tailoring me as a superficial pop star with no heart or concern at all. I have my own health problems, which is why I took down my IG account yesterday. I will definitely be putting it back up now to show I care. I'm speaking with my lawyers today to see what can be done on this matter. It feels illegal and downright cruel." So,
This girl, this poor girl.
Halsey has been very clear that, like, one, she spoke to Britney Spears every step of the way with the creation of this song. And she even said, like, I would not dream of putting it out without her permission, and
And
without
like
her
who
approval,
would? Like
you
following
know?
the Free Britney movement, like it would
Yeah.
be fucking career suicide if it was proven that like you like basically stole her music and like, like that would be
Yeah.
crazy.
And then, two, she says, and like when you watch the music video of, like, you don't know everything about Halsey like you do Britney Spears people. You watch the music video and you're like, oh my god, like that's Britney Spears' life. But like she
Mhm.
said, like it's the music video is actually representative of moments in her own life, and she like goes down the list and like, here are all the things that I'm referencing in the music video about myself that just so happen to have also happened to Britney Spears.
Right.
And like that, and I
Which
think
probably
that's
the
kind
whole
of
reason
right. I think that's
that
kind of
she
why
like
the song was
related to
made this
her.
way.
Yeah. She heard this song by Britney Spears talking about like, you know,
We're
being
supposed to feel
being
lucky,
famous isn't what it
privileged.
seems,
Yeah.
and we've been through all this crazy shit, and she like related to it. But yeah, I mean, I think the music video is scenes from Halsey's life, but the song itself is also about Halsey. Like, it's
Yeah.
not about Britney Spears. So she writes about herself being sick, saying she's losing so much weight, she's taking drugs, whether this is like addiction drugs or like medical needs drugs, not sure. She describes her difficulties being a mother. She writes about times that she shaved her head. She says, I left the doctor's office full of tears, became a single mom at my premiere, and I told everyone I was fine for a whole damn year. So,
And I think she
yeah.
even said like the reason she shaved her head had to do with like her being sick.
Yeah.
Um
It
and
did, but it's
yeah.
like, what a thing to be like, people thought I was crazy,
Yeah.
just like they thought Britney Spears was crazy. They see the shaving head as like an indicator of like going nuts. But for me, and possibly for Brit, I think it's like a relating thing. Like, it could be for
Yeah.
anything, you know?
Yeah. Um so what's interesting is that then the tweet was taken down. So Britney Spears' tweet about like pursuing legal action, blah blah, was taken down, and she put out a new tweet that read, quote, fake news. That was not me on my phone. I love Halsey, and that's why I deleted it. Every single one of those sentences ends with 3 exclamation points. Um, which Halsey responded to with, and I love Britney. I always have and always will. You were the first person who ever made me realize what it means to feel inspired, and you continue to inspire me every day, which I think is like the perfect way to respond to like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah.
Because like
She's like,
here are the follow
okay,
up.
I called off my lawyers. Now I'm just going to reply to this.
My follow up questions are like, one, okay, if it wasn't you, who the fuck is on your phone tweeting
Yeah.
such a serious allegation?
Yeah.
Are they okay? And two, if it was you, why are you coming back now? And you're like, just kidding, just kidding.
Yeah.
Are you okay? So like, someone is having some sort of issue
Yeah.
of some kind, either
Concerning.
taking her phone and tweeting to threatening legal action against Halsey,
Yeah.
or she's like flip-flopping on the storyline of it. But so
Yeah.
then it I apparently that follow-up tweet was also deleted.
Oh,
So now there are no tweets.
they said, okay, take down your Twitter too.
Yes, good lord, girl.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah.
yeah, I just don't
So,
know.
since all of this, and I don't think her frustration is with Britney, but since all
Mhm.
of this, Halsey has talked about that basically, like, she had lupus and a rare T cell disorder in 2022, and it took her out of music for a while. And she said, I was so excited to come back. I was so excited to finally make music again. I regret it now. I wish I could take it back. She said after the response to this song, she said, quote, it feels like a majority of my own fans have only stuck around to chime in occasionally with their opinion of how much they hate me or how awful I am. End quote. And that's so sad.
It is. Um, I was gonna ask.
It's a bomb ass song.
I was gonna ask. Don't people really like not like her? But I can't really. I don't think. It feels a lot like when people didn't like Taylor Swift. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's not like a pinpointed reason that I can think of. People are just like, she's annoying.
I don't know those people. Maybe on like the internet, but like
Yeah.
people that I know love Halsey and
I
have been
think
waiting for her to put music out again.
I think my problem is that the last song I heard from hers was like the one with the chain smokers.
Mm.
And I was like, and I didn't know she made music after that, which was like 2016 or something.
Mm.
So I think that maybe I just don't know what her music is like in order to be like excited. But I did hear the song, and I love Lucky by Britney Spears.
Mm-hmm.
So like I've heard the song. It's good. Catchy.
Mm-hmm.
And but I just remember people being like annoyed with her. I also though I saw something the other day that said like something about people being frustrated with Halsey because she's white passing, and like something like about like her having like braids or something, that like people didn't know she was black,
Mm-hmm.
and so they were like, oh, like she shouldn't have braids and like blah blah blah. And then I found out after the fact that she was black, and like so I think people were like annoyed with her at that for that at some point. I
Sure.
don't know. I think
It's like cringy sometimes, but like
yeah.
it also just sucks that she's saying like the people who were waiting for me to put out music, the people who are my fans,
Yeah.
who love me, I came back and they shit on me.
Yeah, that's
Like
sad.
that sucks.
I like the video of her where she's in the mall and she's like, "Don't waste your time on me." That's a good one. I like that. I like that shit. Um, yeah.
This how I look at the barber when he's washing my hair. It's Angela. Sorry guys, that's hilarious.
Angela. But yeah, I think maybe I need to go back though and listen to some of her more recent music and form my own opinion instead of getting all my opinions from TikTok.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, we finally got the Real Housewives of New Jersey finale that we're just calling The Last Supper, apparently. Um, so I have not watched it because I've been trying to catch up to it so that I understand the context, but I have read a lot. It sounds like there have been like just rumors, but also like legal issues for Teresa's husband, Louis. Teresa, girl, I'm going to need you to pick them better. Friend, you cannot be doing this again.
The grandpa pajamas should have been your first red flag.
Yeah. These issues involve his ex-wife, and apparently Marge has been subpoenaed because Teresa is convinced that she had something to do with these rumors, legal issues, whatever. But the episode I just watched, Lisa, sorry, I'm also watching Salt Lake City. In the episode I just watched, Teresa like has some gathering at her house and is like, I have a bomb to drop about Margaret, and invites people over for this, just for them to come over and her to say, Margaret's been talking to Louis' ex-wife. And they're like, right, you've been alleging that for years. This is not a bomb. Thank you. Cool. So then they go to have this Last Supper, and Margaret drops the bomb that Teresa subpoenaed the wrong bitch, because it was actually Jackie who invited Louis' ex-wife to her home to dig up dirt on Louis. And Jackie leans over to Teresa and she says, I did do that. And Teresa was like, okay. And everyone's like, wait, like what? Are you cool with that? And she's like, yeah, I'm cool with it. And they're like, are you fucking kidding me? And she's like, Margaret, you're the one that's subpoenaed. And Margaret's like, right, but what I'm telling you is I shouldn't have been, because it wasn't me. But then there's a blow up between Teresa and Melissa, which is always so good. We've been doing this for years, friends. It's never gonna stop. Where Melissa calls her white trash, and Teresa says, my brother married a whore. And Melissa's like, I'm gonna tell your mother that you called me a whore. What a fun family drama.
She's just like, she won't be fucking surprised.
Yeah. Next week for the pseudo reunion, it sounds like they're gonna split the women into two groups to watch the finale back. I don't know if they're gonna have them watch like parts of the whole season or just the Last Supper part. But that's gonna be the reunion, which is like, but we just watched that. Like,
Y'all
and they
said we didn't
and
need one.
and they were there. Okay. Um, it does sound though, even though Andy and Bravo told us a bunch of times we will not be changing the cast, it does sound like they're now considering a reboot because the issues between these women do not seem resolvable.
I'm telling you, all it takes is 2 weeks to flip around a public statement you've made,
Mm-hmm.
apparently.
It's true.
All right. I'm gonna try to be quick with the Bachelorette, but it's been a doozy of a 2 weeks, folks. Okay. So, first of all, I don't know if this is like further proof that Devin truly is Maria or if I'm simply a fool, but I like him for Jen. And I'm leaning toward not me being a fool because Emma said she also likes him for Jen. I can't, I'm not the only one. Um, I understand like he doesn't really get along with the other men, but does seem like so genuinely into her, and I feel like they mesh really well, and they're vibing, and I love it. But the men do not love it; they continue to hate him. In Auckland, um, New Zealand, all of the men get to go on a group date the first week in Auckland, except for Devin and Sam M, who both had one-on-ones, which of course placed them alone together at their hotel. I think this is like their version of a two-on-one because like she's
Mm-hmm.
not gonna send either of them home right now. So while they're alone in the hotel, Sam asked Devin what his deal was with him. He said, "What's your deal with me, man?" And Devin said, "I don't have a deal with you. I really, really don't. Like I just don't." And Sam was like, "Well, that's not true because like you made this comment when I left for my one-on-one." Basically, Sam throws out a lot of bachelor cliches, and Devin made a joke about it. He said, "Well,
Mm-hmm.
I hope he puts his best foot forward. I hope he puts it all out on the line for Jen." He's just like repeating things that Sam has said. It was kind of funny actually. And so Sam like brings that up. He's like, "You said this and this and this," and then Sam said, "Your name don't come out my mouth. I don't care enough about you to talk about you." And Devin said, "Okay, you say that, and you say it's about Jen, and then you turn around and you make it about me every single day. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe you." Um, so they're just like back and forth bickering. There's no resolve. There will never be. I thought at one point that things might have been over for Sam on his one-on-one. It was a bungee jumping date, and from the moment they told them were going no, let me rephrase that. From the moment they asked them if they wanted to bungee jump, Jin said no. She repeatedly said she really did not want to do it, and Sam kept saying, "Yes, she does. Yes, we do. Yes, she does. Yes, I do." And
How did that get to that point when she's the lead?
so they I'm like, it's like all staged. But so they were at lunch in like this, I guess it's kind of like the top of the pyramid like restaurant where it's like out on the sky and there's
Mm-hmm.
glass. And you can see out of the restaurant. And they could see people bungee jumping off of buildings.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, "Oh my gosh, like that's so crazy." And the waiter comes over and was like, "Would you like to do it?" And Jen was like, "No, thank you." And Sam was like, yes, we do." "Yes, we do." And Jen was like, "Oh, no, sorry, that's a two-person decision." And I said no. And he was like, "She's lying. We want to do it. Yeah, we do. We're going to do it." Which, like, honestly, I don't think that it was really up to her. I think that they were going to do it either way. So that's how The Bachelor works. But it was not a good look. Um, but so she just kept saying she didn't want to do it. And he kept saying, like, no, you're good. You're going to be fine. You're going to do it. Everything's going to be fine. And so she starts, like, crying on their date. And, like, I think to him, it seemed like she was crying because she was nervous. But then when she talks about it, she was crying because he just wouldn't fucking listen to her.
Yeah.
And so she's like, I just want, if I'm saying I don't want to do it, I just want him to say I don't have to. Which is like, girl, yes, that's all I ever want. Is for someone to tell me I don't have to do things I don't want to do. And so she starts crying and he's like, oh my gosh, like, you don't have to do it if you really don't want to. And like, that's all she needed to hear. And so she
Yeah.
was like, okay, I'll do it. Like, so she did it. But like, she wasn't crying so much because she was nervous. She was crying because he just kept saying she had to do it and
Yeah.
she like really didn't want to. I thought he wasn't gonna get a rose, but then he turned it around. So the first week in Auckland also was like heavily centered on the Maori culture, and they had like pieces of it incorporated into every date that first week. So on the group date, it's kind of like made the dates into like two separate parts because they do something with the Maori culture and then they do something else. So in the group date, the first part, the men learned a traditional Maori dance, and then in the second part, they had a rugby date. And Sam In went a little cuckoo.
Mm.
He lost it for a second. So if you remember in the last pop off, I said that there was a man who on week 2 told Jen he was in love with her. It was Sam In, who admittedly has never been kissed or been in a relationship or knows what love is, he
Mm.
says. So the men were annoyed at that already. They were already like, this guy's fucking weird. Like, when you talking about you love her? And then now at the rugby game, they're all like getting their jerseys ready. They get to put their names on them. And Sam In writes his name as Jin's husband. And
See,
then
that like typically goes very well later
she
in the
loved
season.
it. She
Okay.
loved it. She did. She thought it was super cute. It just goes awry.
Mm-hmm.
He played his little ass off. I tell you what.
Mm-hmm.
He wins the MVP trophy. Like, you know how the sports dates go on The Bachelor, somebody gets a trophy. Typically it means that they get a little bit of alone time with her. He didn't. So then they're heading to like the evening portion of the date where they like hang out and talk to her and make out and stuff. And Sam In has his trophy in one hand and his jersey slung over his shoulder. And he's like walking in like big, big bad guy. He's like,
Mm-hmm.
this is my show. Um, Everybody's annoyed. They're like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? And they tell him this when they get inside. They're like, hey, you're getting on everyone's nerves. And
Mm-hmm.
he said he does not care because it's not about them. He is like truly on one. Okay. So he gets his one-on-one time with Jen. And the jersey that he had over his shoulder, it was not his jersey.
Mm.
No. It was a jersey for Jen that said Sam's wife on the back.
Mm.
She thought it was so cute. She was like, "Oh my gosh, like this is adorable. Like I love this." So he's like, thank you so much. Like I knew you would." So he goes back to the men and he tells them like, "Fellas, I got this group date rose in the bag." Okay? And they're like, "Please shut the fuck up." So specifically Thomas In, we know Thomas In, he's in everybody's business and he needs to not be. He tells Sam that he's being arrogant and needs to chill out. So then, when Thomas In gets his time with Jen, Sam interrupts to ask Jen. He says, "I want to take our relationship to the next level."
Like in front of Thomas?
No, he like makes Thomas leave.
Oh.
He's like, I want to take our relationship to the next level. Can we kiss? And she says, no. And she says she doesn't feel as strongly as he does, and she doesn't want to take away his first kiss. And then she walks him out. And in the limo, on the way out, he says he's so embarrassed because he got all dressed up in a cool guy getup. He said, I put on this denim jacket to look cool. It was a leather jacket.
Oh,
It was not a denim jacket.
that's and that's the part that embarrasses you?
He was like, I got so dressed up like the cool guy tonight just for this to happen. Like I thought this was like my date. And I'm like, that's not what you're supposed to be complaining about when you have been in love with this woman for weeks, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever. Um, the next day, in the afternoon of the next day, all the men were getting ready for the rose ceremony. And as they are spending apparently the entire day getting ready, Jesse meets a man in the lobby of the hotel, and his name is Matt. And apparently, Matt is Jen's ex-boyfriend from 3 years ago, and he wants to join the show and win her back. So he comes in, and they tell him, you have to talk to Jen. It's her choice, blah, blah, blah. So he goes and meets her while she's filming some B-roll footage, which is kind of awkward because it's like, she's just sitting there going like, and he like walks up, he's like, hey. Um, and she's like shocked. She's like, what the fuck is happening? She asks him basically like, why now? Like, why are you here now? It's been 3 years since they dated. And he tells her that he's like, Jen, you know that our rekindled friendship over the last few months has been clearly more than friendly. You know. And she's like, I did not know. She was like, because basically she says like they became friends again after she was announced as the Bachelorette.
Yeah.
So for her, it has been just like friendly.
It had to be.
Because she was not
She's
intending
like,
on dating this man.
like,
She was
you
going to
know, and I
Bachelorette.
know. Yeah.
And so she kind of like gives him the third degree. She says like, so do you like want to come on this show? And he's like, yes. And she's like, if you do that, are you going to want to propose to me?
Yeah.
And he's like, yes, I want to marry you. And like, I just want to prove to you how much I love you. Like, he's like, I skipped the wedding for this. And I guess this is something they had been discussing or someone she knew. She's like, you didn't go to the wedding? And he's like, no. And she's like, oh my God, like, I can't believe you didn't go to the wedding. I was like, whose wedding is it? The president? Like, why is that so crazy? Is his brother's wedding or something? But so basically she says like, I want to consider what you're saying. I hadn't been thinking of it that way, but like, I'll mull it over. Come to the rose ceremony tonight, and I will let you know my thoughts. So he jets off to get ready for the rose ceremony. And Jin, at the rose ceremony, Jin kind of like pulls the other men together and says, like, hey, there's going to be a possible change to the grouping. Someone from my past has come here. She also she likes like clarify for them, and I'm thankful she did this. She's like, I've also been very open with you guys about my past and like my past abusive relationship. I just want to clarify that is not this man. Like, please don't kill him. He's fine. We just weren't dating right now. So that's where we end last week's episode. This week's episode, Jen tells Matt that she sees her future in the men on the show and not with him. So for some reason, he's the one that tells all the guys that. He like goes back and he's like, well, fellas, she says her future husband is in this room and it's not me. So I'm going to leave. And they said, smart girl. I said, that's so rude. That's so mean. And he's like, okay, I guess I'm leaving. It's like one of those things where he's like, I guess I'm going to go now. unless you don't want me to, but I will if I have to. But I'll stay if you want. So he leaves. Um, and also, because I know, like, you mentioned this at the very beginning of her season, we do really see Jen's imposter syndrome big time this week. So on the group date this week, Austin basically told her that he has never been given a date rose, he has never had a one-on-one, and he just like doesn't feel like it's going to be him in the end, basically. And so he's like, I I don't like feel like it's going to get there, so like I just would rather cut my time here now. And so he leaves, and she kind of reacted like the same way she did with Aaron leaving, like, and I think this tells us more about how she was feeling when Aaron left that she maybe didn't say, but she's kind of upset because she was like, if you want to leave, like, that's fine, but like that like does affect me, because it made, she said, it like makes her think he's leaving because I'm not good enough, like he's like basically like she's being broken up with. And so she told the rest of the men that were on the group date, and they rallied around her so well. They were so sweet to her. They handled it perfectly. And in fact, she told them that she could not give out a group date rose because they had all turned her night around, and they did such a great job of like cheering her
I'd be
up.
pissed.
And then
So we should all get roses.
I know. I was like, she would give them all roses, except she's definitely sending a couple of these guys home this week. Then at the rose ceremony, the other guys even were like, we know that like she had a rough date, so like, or no, she had a one-on-one with Grant the next day, and he's like, the men came home and told us about how the group date went, and like I'm so upset that like Jen felt that way, so like I'm gonna do everything I can to make this one-on-one special for her. And like he tried to kind of like take control of the one-on-one, even though she's the lead, because he just like wanted her to feel like he was doing
Special.
something for her. It
Yeah.
was sweet. Good for her. She deserves it.
Poor
She's so
kids.
cute. All
Mm-hmm.
right. And lastly,
Final segment.
it's kind of short, but um crazy.
Such
So,
as such as Big Brother.
yeah. Angela. What the fuck is happening?
Yeah. I like get it that like from a game perspective, keeping her is a great idea because she's like always gonna be a shield. But it's like, you remember whatever year, last year maybe, with like Luke or the guy that like said some racist shit and he
Yeah.
like didn't know, he said he felt so bad.
Oh, Kyle.
And Kyle, yeah, whatever, same thing.
It was a few years ago.
But it was after
Last
the
year?
cookout.
Yeah, it was the year after the cookout.
Okay.
Last year there was a guy named Luke who said racist shit, and Big Brother had him removed from the house
Oh,
immediately.
okay. Yeah.
I think he said
But
the N-word.
yes, he said, yeah. But
Kyle.
Kyle was the one in the house, like basically came together and they said to him, "We don't like the things you've been saying." And he said, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." And they said, "We're gonna vote you off." And he said, like, fair. Like,
He said,
okay.
I accept. I'm
Yeah.
so sorry.
And I just like thought that like after Matt and then Lisa, I fucking hate Lisa, but like making fun of her walk and then calling her a twit,
Yes, what
like
the
I
fuck?
really thought like they were all just gonna come together and say like, and that's what Lisa was saying in her speech was like, let's just make the decision that makes this house the kind of environment we want it to be.
Yeah.
And like I understand technically she hasn't said anything like politically incorrect level of problematic, but she has said like very mean things.
Yeah.
And I wish we would all just say like, she doesn't need to be here.
Yeah. I will say, I think the difference is, and also interestingly, her and Kyle are both from Utah.
Mm-hmm.
I think the difference though, maybe, is that like Kyle I don't think he said what he said to be mean.
No.
It was dumb. What
Mhm.
basically his issue is that he had said, I think that because it was the year after the
They're gonna
cookout,
do the
he
cookout
said
again,
they're
so
gonna
we
do
should
the
make it
cookout
all
again,
white.
so we need to make it all white
Yeah.
alliance. And like that's how it came out. I don't think that's what he meant. I think he meant
Mm-mm.
like
I
we
think
need
from
to
a
be on
game
the
perspective,
lookout.
he is just saying like they're gonna people
We
are
need to
gonna
be
want
aware.
black people to win
Right.
again because they don't win a lot this game.
Right.
So like just they might do that.
Like
Just like
yeah.
in the same way that like women every single year are like, we're gonna make an all girls alliance because a woman needs to win. And then the men say, well, we need
And
to
they
work
get
together because
one
the
male
women are gonna
apologist stuck in there.
right. And so yes, but what I'm
Yeah.
saying is like even then you
Well,
decided to get Kyle out. So why
yeah.
can't you say to Angela, you're being mean? Leave.
So what I was gonna say is that as soon as they said to Kyle, what you said was wrong, he
Mm-hmm.
was like, oh my God, like now that I'm hearing it the
Back
way
to
you're
me.
saying it, yeah, what I
Yeah.
said was fucking wrong. But people are telling Angela, you're being mean.
She's like, don't call me
And
a
she's
bully.
like, I am not mean in any way, shape, or form.
Don't call me a
She
bully.
did
She
like
said,
she did back down with T-Core about like
mm,
racist thing. She was like, I I'm sorry, but
I,
like one, I feel like she fought with T-Core in public and then she apologized to her in private.
yes.
Two,
I was gonna
she
say, I don't think it was backing down. Then she went out to Cedric and was just like, "You know, I wouldn't be racist, right?" And she, when T Core said it, she said, "Oh, do not say that to me." And it's like
yeah
everyone's always. She tells Lisa, "Do not call me a bully." Lisa said, "You called me a twit," and she said, "Cause you
yeah
are a twit." And I'm like, Lisa, why don't you say, "But you are a bully"?
right, and like I think yeah, and I think said this in our family group chat. Like I feel like this is the first just like straight up mean house guest we've had in a while.
Yeah,
Like it's giving like Reagan and Rachel
yeah.
energy, and like as a Big
She's just
Brother
like
viewer, I'm like,
following people
okay.
around, tormenting them.
But like, yeah, it's insane. And like the fact that like they're choosing to keep that person over and over again is like weird to me. And
Mm-hmm.
like, I guess like in some way they're like, she's harmless, like water off a duck's back, like I'm not worried about things she says. But like, also, like, it's just fucking annoying
Yeah.
to have to live with her. And like, somebody needs to like
I
give
just hope
her it, give it
I
to
hope
her.
I hope when she leaves that she gets the same treatment from Julie
Yes.
that people get when they were racist. Like I hope she
Yes.
says to her like, "So you told Matt that he has crazy eyes. His mother
Yes.
is watching that. Like what do you think?" Like I just hope that she
Yeah.
does. But
And I've been listening to How to Be an Anti-Racist, and one of the things I really like about that book is like he he says like in the preface of it that he has gone back in the book and like changed his own writing because he used like what he now knows is like ableist language, and he said like words like crazy,
mhm.
stupid, dumb, like words that like degrade anyone's like intellect or like mental health are ableist words. Calling
Mhm.
someone a twit,
Yeah.
like
And like
that's
making fun
bad.
of how she walks, like and
Yes.
now Lisa's just gonna be thinking about how she walks all the
And you
time.
don't know like
And Matt's gonna be thinking about his eyes.
what Lisa's gone through
Yeah.
with that. And like on Claim to Fame this week, Danny told Adam, he said, you're gonna feel real stupid when you see that um that Diedrich's relative is Michael Jackson. And Adam was like, one thing you're not going to call me is stupid because I spent my whole life in sped. And I was like,
Yeah.
that's true. You don't fucking know what someone's journey with like education and like being able to learn has been. You can't just be calling people dumb and stuff. Like, that's crazy to me. And like, I just, yeah, whatever.
We take it back, Connor Newsome. Although all I said was they said he was dumb, but
It's okay to say it about boys.
Silly boys.
Um,
And then
yeah,
I feel like Tucker's trying to give her a run for her money on like strangeness. But at least Tucker's is like entertaining.
yeah. Tucker's, but like from the get go, I was like, Tucker's fucking weird.
He's feral. Like at all times he's feral. Like I'm
Yeah,
like, buddy, now is like time to just chill. It's just chill time.
yeah. So I was like, nothing can get crazier than Angela on Big
Yeah.
Brother this year. And then Tucker happened. So this week, Tucker was like, Cedric, please put me on the block.
Mm-hmm.
I beg, I plead to be your pawn. Do with me what you will. And Cedric said, like, oh my god, thank you so much. Bet. Put him up on the block. And Tucker's like, I'm gonna play my ass off in that veto. Okay. I think it's weird when pawns are like, I'm gonna fight for my fucking life.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, what?
Well, if there wasn't an
If
AI
they offered.
competition,
Yeah.
well, if there wasn't a whole other competition, I would say like no, someone has to be up there before the veto, and a lot of times they'll do it, fight their ass off in the veto, and then you can like backdoor someone or
Right.
whatever. But like, yeah,
There's no backdooring this time.
Then he would have to put up someone if you used it.
Yeah.
You won the veto and used it on yourself. He'd have to put someone else up, and then they'd still play the AI. Like it just like. Then why are you doing him any favors?
Well, and also like I feel like Tucker said when he offered to be a pawn, you can put me up because I could beat anyone in the AI arena.
Right.
So I'm like, you don't have to play your ass off in the veto, just in the AI arena. Anyway, so um that happens and Tucker wins the veto. And Cedric was like worried because he was like, if Tucker wins the veto, he's going to take himself off the block. If Kenny wins the veto, he's going to take Angela off the block. I was like, that's weird.
Which is bonkers.
Kenny's been shitting on Angela to her face for weeks now. What? Like, he's been telling her how disrespectful she is. Why would he take her off the block? I was like, that's silly. But so it is Tucker, and Tucker's like, I'm obviously going to use the power of veto, and he does on Angela.
Yeah. And he told Cedric first, I was thinking about this, and Cedric said, whoa. I thought only Kenny was thinking that crazy ass shit. Now you're thinking it too? I wouldn't do that if I were you, Tucker. And Tucker's
I love Cedric.
Cedric's my favorite. But Tucker's
He's so funny.
Tucker's like, well, here's my plan. Like, we put up Quinn. And Cedric's like, yeah, I think you should use it on yourself. I don't really want to do that. And then he just did it anyway.
Yeah. So Tucker somehow knows that Quinn and Mackenzie have these powers and exactly what they are. Right. And somehow, and exactly what they are. And so he tells Cedric, like, hey, if you have to name a replacement nom, I would name Quinn because he has a secret power. Do not name Mackenzie because she also has a secret power and it would backfire on you. And Cedric says, okay, Mackenzie, welcome to the block. And as Tucker is shutting the box and saying, this veto ceremony is adjourned, Mackenzie stands up and says, no, it's not, because I have America's veto. And they were like,
which is like, what? I guess I don't get, like, I understand that Tucker thinks that Quinn's power is worse. But like in the end, like one of the powers was flushed out. Like she has used it and now she can't use it again. So
I think that Tucker wanted it to be Quinn because Quinn's power wasn't usable at that point.
Him. Right. And then he would have just like gone home or whatever, but spoiler, he didn't.
Yeah.
So it's like I guess I just don't know. I don't know.
It was like Kenny was gonna go home this week no matter what.
Because he was begging to?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I personally thought, other than the fact that it pissed Mackenzie off because she didn't see it coming, I thought that was a good move. I thought that, like, he's going to have to name people anyway. So he can now say, fine, I'll flush out this one. And I'm not the one that's going to name the replacement nom. So, like, cool. But what I don't get is everyone acting like Cedric fucked it up. And, like, how are we not sitting here thinking, like, but the reason this is a problem is because Tucker just pulled some crazy shit.
Yeah.
And, like, but apparently what's weird to me is that Cedric was going to put Mackenzie up anyway, it sounds like, in Tucker's place. But Mackenzie said, if I had gone up in Tucker's place, I wasn't going to use my power. But when Tucker used it on Angela, I thought, this is suspicious. I don't know what's going on. Like, has something changed? And so then I felt like I had to use my power. But again, how does that not make you mad at Tucker? How does that make you mad at Cedric? If you were fine with Cedric putting you up in Tucker's place, I don't understand.
Yeah, so then...
I think Cedric's a little genius.
He's so expressive.
Mm-hmm.
So then Tucker, like, outs Quinn as having this other power, and he's like, here's exactly what it is, and I know it because Angela told me. And Angela's like, I see, I'm not a crazy person, I'm not a liar, I'm just trying to help. I'm like, shut up, Angela. I don't know what you have to do with this.
Angela and Tucker on a team is not something I would have seen coming.
But so Quinn is, like, pissed, obviously. So then they get down to who America replaces, and I told Sammy, I said, I think it's either going to be the guy with the mustache, I don't know his name. Joseph or Leah, because they're the two most boring people on this show. It's Quinn. I, for one, was shocked. I thought we loved Quinn. I'm having a grand old time with him.
I know. Billy was like, "Oh, I want to vote. I want to vote for it to be Quinn." And I said, "What? What is happening?" And he was like, "Oh, America's gonna put Quinn up there, and I want Quinn up there." And I was like, "What am I missing?" But I feel like maybe America was just like, that's the only person who, like, matters, right? Like, he does have a power, and he, like, it would be an actual move if you put up Leah or Joseph. Like, I think that probably it maybe isn't that they, like, hate Quinn. It's more of just, like, he does have a power, and, like...
Yeah. America's like, my life is on the line. Who should I put on the block? But I did think that his speech was so funny. He said, America. And then he said the other half of AmeriCorey.
America.
That was so funny. Okay.
That's all we got, folks. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, and then Kenny went home because he's been begging to go home.
Yeah. And then who the fuck was it that went in that diary room and was like, Julie Chin, I love God?
It was Brooklyn. That? Brooklyn said, well, Brooklyn, what she said was, God is good, America didn't put me up. Like, she was just trying to say, like, look, things are looking up today.
Look at God. But she, like, said something, she, like, Julie,
God is what? She said, God is good, America didn't put me up. And then Julie had to, literally, Rubina was waiting in the hallway for fucking hours because Julie's having to preach out there. God is good all the time, God is good. All right, let's get back to business now.
She said but that, and also, Sammy said...
What? Sammy said what?
Sammy said, he said, that's how I know that woman's never been to church, because you only ever say one of those lines, and then you let the other person finish it.
Maybe she just thought Brooklyn was too much of a heathen to finish it. But the worst part, Billy thinks Joseph is a predator. And it wasn't helped when he walked into the diary room and he said, "What's up, Chinbot?" Why? Why did you call her that?
What does that mean?
Like her last name. He's calling her Chinbot. Like Julie Chinbot. But, like, why bot? I don't know. Because, like, that's the thing. Zingbot. Chinbot. Oh. But I'm silly. Like, I'm waiting for her to go, that's Mrs. Moonves to you.
Actually, I don't know why I'm questioning that, because I call Sammy Swaimbot all the time.
Yeah, I'm like, what are you waiting for? I don't know why the creepy guy said the creepy thing.
Well, I guess I'm
Alright.
just wondering why it's creepy.
Because everyone else is like, Julie, you look gorgeous. Julie, love you, Auntie Julie. And he walks in, sup, Chimbot. Sorry for calling boys dumb.
No, I'm not sorry for that.
Alright, guys. We hope you're watching Big Brother.
And if not, you should be, because in the words of Angela, this is fucking Big Brother. This is Big fucking Brother. She like when she's like freaking out, she's like, "Oh my god, this is how the game is played." I'm like, "Girl, sit down for a second."
Yeah. Well, bye.
Bye.